All right, so we are on Chapter 8, Improper Integrals. So this is going to be limits. One of our limits goes to infinity, or our area of interest has a vertical asymptote in the space here. So we're going to follow the pattern here. We're going to consider and evaluate this integral. All right, so this is like x to the negative 2. So then that would be x to the negative 1, and then divide by negative 1, and then evaluate from some number b until 1. So if I evaluate at b, I evaluate at 1. This area seems like it's pretty good, right? For what values of b are we going to be good? As long as b is not 0, right, then we're going to be okay. So that leads us into our idea here. One of them is that we're going to go all the way to infinity. So we're going to look to calculate the area under the curve from a starting number all the way to infinity. If you slow down and process that, that seems a little bit strange that even though something is infinite, we're going to be able to find the area under that curve. Notation-wise, we don't really want to put an infinity in our upper limit when we do our calculation, because that sort of violates some of the rules for integration. So you substitute a constant value, and then you take that constant value and take that limit as that value approaches infinity. This would be the proper notation to use on paper, especially for your FRQs. So that infinity could be your upper limit, it could be a negative infinity on your lower limit, or it could be on both where we need to split both of those there. And for some reason here, my dx here didn't go, just a box. So let's put that back in. All right, so in either case here, case 1, 2, or 3, if the interval converges, then the limit exists. All right, we are not saying that whatever value comes out is the area under the curve. We're just saying that it's going to exist. Otherwise, the integral diverges. For case number 3, both of them have to work, which should make sense. All right, let's do example 1 here. So you can see we have an infinite limit, which makes it an improper integral. So we're going to take the limit as b. They usually use b for the upper limit. From 0 to b of 1 over x squared plus 1 dx. So that would be my limit as b approaches infinity of tangent inverse of x evaluated from b to 0, which would be my tangent inverse of b minus my tangent inverse of 0. And tangent inverse of 0 is 0. So that's not part of the limit. There's no b in there, so we can just evaluate that digit. So now we are evaluating the limit as my tangent inverse of b as b approaches infinity. And you know, like our graph of tangent, so our graph of tangent inverse is going to be, right, reversed around. So then as we approach infinity here, we're approaching pi halves. All right, example 3, we're going to take our limit as b approaches infinity from 0 to b of x squared e to the negative x dx. Now this should look familiar because we just went over this concept. So this is a integration by parts. So we're going to let u equal x squared, and then dv is going to be e to the negative x dx. So that means my du is going to be 2x dx, and my v is the opposite of e to the negative x. So now when we rewrite it, I'm going to have my limit as b approaches infinity of u v minus the integral of v du you can see we're going to need to do this another time. In the textbook and in the notes, in the Google Slide notes or PowerPoint notes, depending on what file you're looking at, they give you an example of how to integrate via a table. Some people prefer that method rather than doing this twice. So if that's something of interest to you, that's something you can read up on. I'm going to pause there. So all I did is make those positive. Okay, so now, oops, I didn't want to do that one. Let's back that up. Thought I was on the pen. So now I'm going to go through that again. All right, so I've got my new integrand. So my u is 2x, my du is 2dx, my dv is e to the negative x dx. So my v is the same, the opposite of negative e to the x. So I'm going to have my u v minus my integral of v du. All right, so again, I can make this plus the positive, right? I can take the 2, put them in front of the integral. I'm just going to write this down again. So I'm going to take the negative and put it in front, just to clean it up a tad. And I'll take that negative sign, put it in front as well. All right, so then my antiderivative of e to the negative x would be a negative e to the negative x, and then I would evaluate that from b to 0. I don't think I want to move that. Let's leave that there. Let's see if I can slide it over to the side. There we go. All right, so I'm still going to have my limit notation in front as b approaches infinity. So as I evaluate here, I see that everybody has a negative e to the x, so I'm going to factor that out as I go through this. So this is going to be negative e to the negative b. Then I've got b squared plus 2b plus 2. And now I'm going to evaluate at 0. So negative e to the 0. And then I'm going to have 0 squared, 2 times 0 plus 2. All right, so as b goes to infinity, and that's a negative power, the exponential is faster than the polynomial. So this term here is going to go to 0 as I evaluate that limit. So that leaves me with this back portion here. So, well, e to the 0 is a 1. That's a 0. That's a 0. A subtraction of a negative 1 is a positive. So then a positive 1 times a 2 is a 2. So our final answer there is going to be a 2. All right, I kind of like this extra space here. So now the conversation changes, and we do not have an infinity on our upper or lower. Yet if we graph this, we're going to have a vertical asymptote at 0. So then what's going to happen there? Well, we're going to take our limit and we're going to split it up. Let's actually start with splitting up the integral. So if we have our integral, negative 1 to 1 of 1 over x dx, we're going to rewrite that from negative 1 to 0, 1 over x dx, plus the integral from 0 to positive 1 of 1 over x dx. And then we can take our limit as b approaches 0 from the left, from negative 1 to b of 1 over x dx, plus my limit as a approaches 0 from the right, from a to 1 of 1 over x dx. So now when I evaluate my integral, I'm going to have the natural log of the absolute value of x evaluated from b, all right, plus my limit as a approaches 0 from the right, my natural log of the absolute value of x evaluated from 1 to a. So a lot of this is just copy things down for notation so we don't lose information. So I'm going to have the natural log of the absolute value of b minus the natural log of the absolute value of negative 1 plus my limit as a approaches 0 from the right, the natural log of the absolute value of 1 minus the natural log of the absolute value of a. All right, cleaning up shop here. The absolute value of negative 1 is 1. The natural log of a 1 is a 0. The natural log of a 1 is a 0. So now we have the limit as b approaches 0 from the left of the natural log of b plus my limit as a approaches 0 from the right of the opposite of the natural log of the absolute value of a. All right, so then now if we went through and we looked at a graph of this, especially with the absolute value, so my natural log of a positive, but if it's of an absolute value, it's going to have the symmetric version on the left side of the y-axis. So now if we're looking from the left side of 0, as we're getting closer to 0, we are approaching a negative infinity plus, all right, and we have a negative here, right? So I have a plus, a negative. So let's just put that in a bracket so we don't lose that. As I approach a from the right side of 0, which is also a negative infinity, okay, so then if we sort of rewrite this here, I have negative infinity minus a negative infinity. Okay, so based on our L'Hopital's notation we had before, this is still considered indeterminate. Therefore, this is a divergent function. There are various situations where people would say that the space between is symmetrical and things like that, which I'm not going to argue against here. But overall, mathematically speaking, this is a divergent expression. All right, we've got a couple more examples then. So again, you're looking at this and you're seeing a 0 and you're seeing a denominator. So I should set off a red flag that this would be an improper integral. So I'm going to let a approach 0. So I'm going to go from a to 1 of 1 over the cube root of x dx. So then my limit as a approaches 0. So this is x to the negative 1/3 power. So that means I'm going to go up 1 to 2/3, divide by 2/3 or multiply by the reciprocal, evaluate from 1 to a, which would give me a 3/2 minus 3/2. Oh, I said halves and I wrote down an a. 3/2 a to the 2/3. So now when I take my limit as a approaches 0 of 3/2 minus 3/2 a to the 2/3, this a is going to go to 0, leaving me with 3/2 as a result. We have one more and just a reminder. All right, so I see this is from the 2012 exam. We've got it improper. There's an infinity in the upper limit. All right, so I can do a U substitution here. And I can substitute out the power. So that means I would need to force in a -2 and counter with a -1/2. So then I would have a -1/2, my integral of e to the u du. I know I want to back substitute into x, so I'm not going to go too far into the u's. So I know that antiderivative is going to be an e to the u, but we know our u in terms of x is a -x². I'm going to evaluate that to my other limits of integration, my previous ones. So then I'm going to have a -1/2. I'm going to put that in a bracket outside. E to the -b² minus e to the -1². So if we evaluate our limit as b approaches infinity, I have my -1/2 on the outside. Some people might see it easier if we make that exponent positive. I need my bracket, sorry about that. So now if I evaluate as b goes to infinity, this denominator will get large, which means this term is going to go to 0. Therefore, I have the -1/2 that's factored out being multiplied by the -1/e. So the two negatives make a positive. So my final answer is 1/2e. All right, exam tip here. It will be on the FRQ. And if you don't show proper notation, then you're not going to get the points. So you got to make sure you show your limit notation with the dummy variable of a or b. If you evaluate and you say from 0 to infinity of your f of x, and then you find your antiderivative and you evaluate from infinity to 0, you're not going to get any points for that. All right, so make your adjustments, do them now so they become a habit. Thank you.